Land Rover has launched the 35th anniversary edition of the Discovery, and this large SUV competes in a fiercely coveted segment, with the competition being filled by the likes of the Lexus GX. So does this special edition have what it takes to take them on? Let's find out. Since the launch of the 35th anniversary edition, there has been a shuffle to the Discovery's lineup, and now there are 5 grades and they're all diesel powered. Technically speaking, the specs of our test model were based on the Dynamic SE grade, but with the reshuffle, it's now based on the Gemini spec, which sits second from the top. However, this doesn't share the high price tag, but it is still slightly more expensive than its nearest rivals. The special edition sees rear privacy glass, a Wi-Fi enabled media system with data plan, a head-up display, electric middle row seating, as well as a tow pack and a couple of other items. Our test vehicle has also been fitted with a Capability Plus package, which tacks on almost $5,000 to the price point, but you do get a whole bunch of four-wheel drive options, which I'll cover later on in the video. As you'd expect, you do get some good features in here, like heated and powered front captain's chairs, heated rear outboard seats, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, 2 sunroofs, as well as a premium Meridian sound system. You do miss out on a couple of things like ventilated front seats and a heated steering wheel, but the full specs are in my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info. The Discovery is an elegant looking SUV, and while it doesn't have the same rugged or boxy styling as its rivals, it still has a hint of capability. And there are some really nice features on this special edition, like the 21-inch black alloys, the Roman numeral badging at the rear, and the slim LED light signatures. I think it looks quite nice, but let us know in the comments what you think. The cabin looks solid and well built. The leather upholstery on the seats looks great. Some of the other trims can be a little bit too synthetic to my liking, but all of them are soft and thickly padded to touch, which is great. The dashboard is headlined by a large 11.4-inch touchscreen multimedia display, which looks really high end. There's enough tactile buttons and dials for me, but it does lack a little bit of personality in here. It's quite nice, it's just not special. The front row offers the most storage space and comfort. I love how much elbow room you have in here and how tall and wide this middle console lid is. It almost makes the foldable armrest redundant though. The seats themselves are powered, very comfortable with long seat bases and thick padding, as well as excellent lumbar support. However, the heat functions are buried behind menu screens, which might annoy some. This has comfort access, which will lower the suspension of the car. So despite it having a 283mm ground clearance, it's a really easy step in, step out scenario, which all of my family really appreciates. The only real comment is that the doors are quite heavy and you do have to close them firmly so they latch properly. There's lots of storage options up front and they're very clever as well. You get 2 storage box compartments up in the dash, a hidden display underneath the climate panel, 3 dedicated phone spots, 1 underneath the middle console lid, and the middle console itself has a cool box, which is perfect for when you're traveling and you want to keep drinks or snacks cool. Unfortunately, I have experienced a few tech gremlins this week. Might just be a quirk of the car and not indicative of the model as a whole, but I haven't been super impressed. The media system is fairly easy to use once you spend some time with it. I like that it's got the sat-nav and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Sometimes though, my CarPlay would register that the music was playing, but not actually play it through the sound system. Had to reconnect my phone to fix that issue. And otherwise, the dual use buttons and dials and the finicky steering wheel controls, it just feels like there's one step too many for it to be practical to use. I haven't been able to get the wireless charging pad to work either this week, which has been a little bit annoying. You do have other charging options like 2 USB-C ports and a 12-volt socket though. This middle row is on the smaller side for the segment. I don't have a whole lot of leg room or elbow room back here, especially not behind my driving position, and I'm only 168 centimeters tall. 3 adults will fit. Probably wouldn't be super comfortable on a longer journey just because the seat bases are on the shorter side with firmer padding. I do like though that you get a flat floor. And another little tech gremlin reared its head this week in that door just randomly locked itself for 4 days straight. It is obviously open now, but not through anything I've done. I like how much toe room you get underneath these front seats, and that the seat backs in this middle row have a 40-20-40 split. Just remember to fold down the middle headrest before you fold them, because otherwise they hit the air vents and the dials. The amenities are pretty good back here. You get dual zone climate control, lots of directional air vents, heat function on the outboard seats, as well as a couple of USB-A and C ports, that's 4 in total, as well as a 12-volt socket. The storage is shouldered primarily by the mat pockets, storage bins, and 2 cup holders in this fold-down armrest. The third row can fit adults, and I like that you get a deeper footwell so it doesn't feel like your knees are pressed in on your chest. But access for this row is definitely more kid-friendly. I like though that's not fully forgotten when it comes to amenities. You still get directional air vents, hinged cubbies that each hold a single USB-C port. Families will also really like the fact that you have 2 ISOFIX and top tether anchor points back here, which is great for when you have adults or older kids that are occupying this middle row and you need to shove some kids into the back. I wouldn't want it to be like a permanent solution because it's a little bit hard to access, but it's still a really top feature. The boot is really practical because it's wide and tall, and it has a 1,137 litre capacity when this third row is stored. I like that you can lower and adjust the height of this loading lip via these buttons in the boot, and you can electrically fold the middle row. Sometimes the buttons on the seats themselves don't always work though, another little tech gremlin. But outside of that, I've really enjoyed the space back here. There's no underfloor storage, but you do get a 12-volt socket, powered tailgate, and a full-size spare wheel. The D350 is powered by a 3-litre 6-cylinder twin-turbo diesel engine that's paired with a 48-volt mild hybrid system. And together they produce a hefty 257 kilowatts of power and 700 newton-meters of torque. This can do a 0 to 100 km/h sprint in just 6.3 seconds, which is really commendable for such a large four-wheel drive. It also has a maximum weighting depth of 900 millimeters, which is really cool, and a 3.5 ton brake to towing capacity. Our test model has also been fitted with the Capability Plus pack, which adds low gearing, rear diff locks, as well as multiple terrain modes, which should please adventuring enthusiasts. The 35th anniversary edition has an official claimed combined fuel cycle usage of 7.8 litres per 100 kilometres. And with its 89 litre fuel tank, you should see a theoretical driving range of over 1,100 kilometres, which is really good. My real world usage is up on your screen now. It is a little bit thirstier than what I was hoping for, especially considering how I haven't been towing or really hauling any serious cargo. And the only real passenger I've had is my son, and occasionally my son and my husband. The power in this is effortless. Honestly, the power delivery is super prompt. There's no real diesel lag that you sometimes get in these bigger cars when you're accelerating from a full stop or when you have to overtake. It is beautifully powered. I love this engine. Ride comfort is really good in this because of the adaptive suspension, which really smooths out some of the bigger bumps. You still get some road feedback, which is great in a big SUV like this, but they don't bother you. And the cabin, despite it being diesel, it's really quiet. So much so that it's pretty easy to chat with all 3 rows. The steering is really well balanced, not too heavy, not too light, and it makes this feel like it's easy to maneuver. I also like that when you take a corner, there's not much roll, despite it being quite a tall SUV. Overall, this handles just really well. I've been very impressed with it. The visibility is really good in this. I love the high seating position and that none of the pillars get in the way from my driving position. Lots of big windows, not too hard to see out. The only issue is that at the rear, the middle headrest really hinders your vision. And if you had a whole carload full of passengers in gear, it would have been handy on a car this long to have a digital rearview mirror, but otherwise it's okay. This has a 12.7 meter turning circle and a really clear 360-degree view camera system. So it is a very forgiving SUV to park. The camera feed is a little bit small on the screen, but otherwise you shouldn't have any issues parking this one. The new Discovery hasn't been tested with ANCAP yet and is unrated, but it does come with a large suite of safety features as well as 8 airbags, which is really good to see on a family four-wheel drive. The adaptive cruise control is really well calibrated, and the only intrusive safety feature I've found this week has been the speed limit warning. But the full safety specs are in my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info. The Discovery is covered by a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is pretty standard for the luxury side of this segment. You can pre-purchase a 5-year servicing plan for $3,500, which is okay for the class, and services are well spaced at every 12 months or 20,400 kilometres, whichever occurs first. The Land Rover Discovery 35th Anniversary Edition is an elegant SUV that drives beautifully and has some really decent features. However, some of its technology isn't always practical for everyday use, and it's also not a sprawling 7-seater like some of its rivals are. And that's why it gets the score that's on your screen now. But if you're after the full review, check it out at carsguide.com.au, and I'll see you on the next one.